Hello, welcome or welcome back. Today I'm doing another Neville Says, and this one is on how long it takes for your manifestation to arrive in your reality. I know that this is a very popular question, so I want to clear that up today. Stick around. My name is Hedley Derenzie and I am a qualified life coach and author. I am also super passionate about the amazing teachings of the law of assumption as originally taught by the great American mystic Neville Goddard. It is the stories we tell that create our life. So if you want to change your life, then you need to change the story. And if you want to create the most amazing life, you need to know how to tell the most amazing stories. And that is why I am here. I am telling myself much better stories thanks to these teachings, and I want to help you to do the same. If you would like help with this, because sometimes we need a little support, I am available for one-to-one coaching. I also have a free 21-day Set Yourself Up with the Ultimate Self-Concept course. You can get instant access to that, and you can also follow me on Instagram. All of those details are below in the comments box. I think that's it. Let's get into it. Today we are doing another Neville Says, where I take a quote from Neville and I share my interpretation of it and how you can apply it to your life. And this one is on how long it takes for your manifestation to show up in reality. The time it takes is obviously an important part of this process because there is a time component to manifesting. There's a time component to everything because we live in the physical world and our manifestations are subject to the laws of the physical world of time and space. So there is going to be a time element to your manifestation showing up in reality. That is part of the deal of manifesting in a physical universe, in a physical world. However, we don't know what that time is, but I want to share a quote with you from Neville. I had an aha moment when I was listening to this quote earlier, and I was like, I've got to do a video on this because I know that this is something that a lot of you are asking is like, I'm doing all the work and I'm doing all the right things and it's not showing up, and how long is this going to take, and how many times do I have to visualize, and how do I do this? This quote is a game changer. So I'll get straight into it. Quote is taken from Neville Goddard Lecture Series, Volume 1, Chapter 16. And the quote is, "I do not know how long it takes for an egg to hatch in a nest, but I do know each one will hatch in its own time. And so it is with an assumption. If I desire to be wealthy, I may not know how long it will take me to reach the conviction that I possess great wealth, but when I feel great wealth is mine, I have conceived. Conception is my end. The length of time between my desire and its conception depends entirely upon my inner conviction." This is so profound, because this clears up a big misconception with manifesting, that we have to manifest to the point where our manifestation shows up in reality. That is not the case. The role we play is from the point of having the desire to conception, which is the point that we know we already have it in consciousness. At that point, we become pregnant. This is what the Immaculate Conception is really about. It's a mystical teaching directing us through the manifestation process, which is what we are becoming pregnant from within without any external force. That's the Immaculate Conception. That's what that metaphor means. It's not a literal historical account of Mary just suddenly becoming pregnant with the baby. When we have a desire and we consciously create that conviction within us, that is the point of conception, and that is where our work is done. So for example, when a woman becomes pregnant, she is now pregnant with that child, and there is a gestation period until that child is born into this physical world. It is exactly the same with manifestation. So our work applies from the point of having the desire of something, a reality that we want to experience, to the point of when we conceive, that conception point, which is when we know we already have that desire in our consciousness. We become pregnant with it, and then there is a gestation period until that manifestation is born into the physical world. So we are not doing anything during that gestation period. We might think of it, but we already know we're pregnant with it. We know it's ours. We know it's done. This was a light bulb moment for me because I have thought, you know, do we just like, I've had the same questions you have, like how long do we visualize? How long do we use the techniques for? So when we're using the techniques, what we're doing is we're creating the conviction. That's what we have to do. The point where we're using these techniques in the law of assumption, such as visualizing, writing the narrative, having in conversations, falling asleep with affirmations, like playing it all out, rehearsing it in our mind. The point of doing that is to conceive. And conception is where we know in consciousness that that desire is already ours. And because we know that consciousness is the one and only reality, and reality will absolutely has to reflect it back, and that manifestation will be born into the physical world. That's our job. Our job is done at the point of conception. So our work is between having the desire and our conception of it, which is we know that it's already done. And that's where our work is. That's the fertilization period. And that's why it is the Immaculate Conception, because we're doing it without any external influence or forces. So there's nothing coming into us except our own imagination. So we're doing it all within. That's why it's immaculate. It's a metaphor. It's not literal. When we know that our desire is already ours and we're living in the end of the wish already fulfilled, and we have become pregnant with our desire, there is a gestation period. We don't know how long that will be, but the gestation period will determine on our conviction, our inner conviction. And that's what he's saying. The length of time between my desire and its conception depends entirely upon my inner conviction. So we must be convinced that we already have what it is that we want for us to conceive our desire. And then there's a gestation period, and that will be different every time. Neville talks about the gestation period for different animals. So for humans, it's 9 months. And I just want to read out a few others. The gestation period for a horse is 12 months. For a mouse is 12 days. A kangaroo is 1.5 months. A dog is 2 months. Lion is 3.5 months. A polar bear is 8 months. A cow, 9.5 months. A seal, 11 months. An elephant, 21 months. A giraffe, 14 months. I didn't know any of this. A whale is 18 months. So there is a gestation period of pregnancy, and that is the same for manifestations. And we do not know how long that is. However, Neville will say, when you have conceived a desire, so when you absolutely know that it is done, reality has to catch up with your new state of consciousness. There is no delay, and it will come at exactly the right time. And so throughout that process, you're just getting on with your life. You're just getting on with your day, doing what you need to do, knowing that it is done. So if you're single and you're wanting to be married or happily partnered, there's a process between having that desire and conceiving. So the point of conception where you know that that is done. So in your consciousness, you know that you are a happily married person or a happily partnered person, and then you go about your day in that state of consciousness, knowing that that is now who you are, and reality has to catch up to that new state of consciousness. The time it takes is the time it takes, and that is the perfect time, and it doesn't matter because you know you're pregnant. You know that that manifestation is coming. You know that reality has to catch up and reflect it back, because that's how this works. And it's like if you are pregnant as a woman and you're pregnant with a child, you know you're pregnant. And so you just you go about your life knowing that that baby is coming. And we can't rush this. If you're baking a cake and you're constantly opening the oven and you're putting your finger in it going, is it ready yet? Is it ready yet? You're going to ruin the cake. You don't do that because you know that if you leave the cake in for the amount of time it says on the box, then that cake is going to be cooked. And it's the same with your manifestation. You have to let it cook. You have to let it do its thing. And you have to let reality organize itself so that it can show up in exactly the right time and exactly the right way. And it'll be a way that you have, like, you will be surprised. And that's part of the fun. Like, if you knew how everything was going to show up and you knew how the movie goes, I mean, you've written the movie, so you know how it goes, but the beauty of this is that you still end up being surprised. This is one of the most fascinating, phenomenal experiences once you get these teachings and you realize not only are you the producer, the writer, the director, the actor of your movie, not only are you the casting director, but you're also the audience. You then get to sit back and watch your own movie play out on the holographic screen of your mind, and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. And yet you wrote the script, and yet you're still surprised. Like, it's phenomenal. Life becomes the most phenomenal experience that you can ever possibly imagine for yourself, which is what you're doing anyway. Amazing. If you are working on something in your life, the work that you're doing is from the point of having the desire. So you've become aware of the desire, of the reality you want to experience. And then your work is to then conceive. At the point of conception is when you know that you already have it. It's done. It's yours. And there's a gestation period before reality shows that back up. But in between the desire and conception point, that's where you're using the techniques. That's where you're visualizing. That's where you're rehearsing the scenes over and over and over. And you'll know it in your body, in your mind, in your consciousness when you have conceived, because it'll just drop. You'll just be like, boom, and you've aligned. It's done. You know it with every cell of your being. You know that that reality is done. It's yours, and it's only a matter of time for it to show up. And then you're like, just get on with your life. Have fun, enjoy yourself, knowing that it is coming, it is on its way. There is a gestation period to everything, but everything shows up in perfect time. We do not know when, we do not know how. It's not our job to know. So just do your work in the window where your work is meant to be done. Please remember, you are the creator of your reality. You are the superstar of your show. You are the producer, the writer, the director, and the actor in your movie. What you assume to be true will be so. So assume the best for you and assume the best for everyone in your movie too, and you will have an amazing life. This is my wish for you. Thank you for listening. If you have enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, comment, and share with family and friends. If you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would love to have you. So I think that's it. I'll see you next time. Bye.